Right, let's have a look and see what a woman thinks about this. Patricia Gibson.
Everyone here today understands that Scotch Whisky is a huge player in the UK economy in overseas markets. And without the success of this industry, Britain's trade deficit of around £35 billion would be around 11% larger. This wonderfully popular product is the biggest net contributor to UK trade in goods. Exports, as has been pointed out, are worth almost £4 billion, while imports in the supply chain, such as packaging for products and casks for maturing the spirit, again add value to our economy. The industry's trade balance is £3.8 billion, supporting, as has been pointed out, almost 40,000 jobs, 10,800 of which are directly employed and support salaries worth £1.4 billion to UK workers. And as my honourable friend for Argyll and Bute has pointed out, over 7,000 workers in the Scotch whisky industry are employed in rural communities like that in my own constituency of Arran, leading to a considerable added value in both direct and indirect incomes. Further, it accounts for 21% of the food and drink exports of the whole of the United Kingdom. I am here today, Madam Chair, to applaud the success of this industry and its huge contribution to the UK economy. And I am delighted that my own constituency of North Ayrshire and Arran can boast some of the finest whisky distilleries in the UK, with the Arran distillery being one of the few remaining independent distilleries in Scotland and the only malt whisky distillery on Arran, home to an award-winning dram. It opened in 1995 in Loughranza, and Loughranza in Arran really is the perfect location for producing the perfect malt, because the area is home to the purest water in all of Scotland, water that's been cleansed by granite and softened by peat as it slowly meanders from the mountain tops into nearby Loch na Davy Arran, enjoying a warm microclimate. The atmosphere of sea breezes and clear mountain air, together with the warm flow of the Gulf Stream, is ideal for the speedy maturation of single malts. And now that I've painted that rather poetic picture, I do have to say, Madam Chair, that I'm going to put the member for Argyll and Bute and the member for Rossguy and Lochaber's gas at a peep, because the Arran distillery, despite what they've said about their own neck of the woods, is a patron of the World's Burns Federation, and as such has created a Robert Burns single malt and Robert Burns blended whisky in honour of Scotland's national poet. And that is the only whisky distillery to be able to use the image and signature of Robert Burns on their packaging. A true accolade indeed. It's not for nothing. It is not for nothing that the island of Arran has a reputation for producing the highest quality whisky, although I'm sure yours is quite nice too. I would like to join my colleagues today to urge the Government to call for a cut in excise duty on spirits at the budget next week, a cut in whisky duty, to help boost the Scotch whisky industry. The Government must make it clear that the whisky industry will not be viewed as a cash cow, as the oil industry has been for too many years. Failing to cut the excise duty in the budget risks holding back this vital industry and the revenues, jobs and tax receipts from which the whole of the UK benefits. We need to help create the conditions for growth of this industry in our home market and stimulate long-term investment. And if you cut excise duty, the revenues will go up, not down. The current staggering and eye-watering 76% tax on a bottle of Scotch whisky is far too high. Consumers hand over almost £10 on each bottle of whisky they buy. 51% more duty than beer drinkers, 27% more duty than wine drinkers. This is clearly unfair and unsustainable, and 76% duty is the fourth highest rate in Europe. And a cut at a stroke will not only support the whisky industry, it will support farmers, local pubs, rural and island economies, responsible consumers, manufacturers, exporters and supply chains across the UK. There's no denying that distilleries are a source of jobs in areas, as has been pointed out, which might otherwise find it hard to sustain them, and are strongly aligned with wider tourism activities in rural economies. And in my own constituency, a visit to Arran Distillers Limited is all part of the experience of visiting the island of Arran. The Scotch whisky industry is quite rightly a source of pride to all Scots, and no wonder. But it's also a huge success story which needs to be told more often. It's not a case of can the UK government afford to cut excise duty on whisky. It's a case of can the UK government afford not to make this cut. This is an iconic industry of both Scotland and the entire UK. It has a crucial role to play in the economic health of the UK, and this should be and must be recognised. And I urge the Minister today to support a cut in excise duty on whisky and recognise this jewel in the crown of Scotland's and the UK's industrial strength. Thank you.